I believe we have a quorum now, so we will begin. First off, as always, I'd like to welcome the out-of-town people for coming down and do it quickly, but I'd like to encourage everybody, if you have a chance, go out and enjoy one of the restaurants and help the local economy. And I can tell you from the 10 pounds I have to lose after each session, there's a lot of good restaurants here, so please try them. All right, we will begin. We have 6 judges that we are beginning with, so I would like all 6 of them, if you could, to come up, and we will swear you in, and then I will call you one at a time.
Solemnly swear under the penalties of perjury that the statements you make and the testimony you give before this committee will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Okay, thank you. We will deal with the Court of Appeals first, and we have Angela Michelle Eves and Senator Casserly.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, colleagues, I'm very honored. Was trying to figure out when the last time Harford County had a judge appointed for the Court of Appeals. We know we had the first one back in 1777, and then we really had to do some research. We chased up Judge Archer in 1884, but now we found we actually had Judge William Malsby in 1871. So it's been a long enough time that there's nobody can really remember what happened here. So, but here we are tonight, and I am deeply honored to present for your consideration and support Governor Hogan's nomination of the Honorable Angela M. Eves as a judge for the Maryland Court of Appeals. Judge Eves is currently serves as the administrative judge in the Circuit Court for Harford County. She was first appointed to the District Court in 2000, and then appointed to the Circuit Court in 2007, where she has served with distinction since 2007. She was the first woman appointed to the Circuit Court for Harford County. She was actually born in the Republic of Panama and graduated from these Texas law schools, which obviously we're not holding against her here in Maryland. And she also graduated from the Lyndon B. Johnson School of Public Affairs. And so she has a master's degree in public administration. Upon moving to Maryland, she began her legal career with the Legal Aid Bureau and then also with the Office of the Attorney General. I can't think of a better nominee to represent the citizens of this state than my good friend and honored colleague in the bar, the Honorable Angela M. Eves. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge.
Thank you very much, Senator Casserly. I really appreciate your very generous and kind introduction. And President Ferguson, Chairman Young, members of the Senate Executive Nominations Committee, thank you for this opportunity to meet with you regarding my qualifications to the Court of Appeals of Maryland. First and foremost, I would like to publicly thank Governor Hogan for appointing me to the court. I know the decision was not easy given the well-qualified candidates, and I appreciate the honor and privilege that he has bestowed in naming me as the first Afro-Latina to the court. And although they are both deceased, I also want to thank my parents who raised me and my 3 siblings to honor God, family, and country, and to have respect and empathy for our fellow human beings regardless of their backgrounds. My mother's courage as an immigrant from Panama and my father's perseverance as an African American who grew up in the Jim Crow South taught me resilience and patience. It did not hurt also to be a little stubborn and forge ahead despite overt racism, anti-ethnic aggression, and sexism. Also, as a classic middle child, I figured out early on how to outwit my sister and 2 brothers so that we all got a little bit of what we each wanted. Little did I know that it would set the tone for my future in conflict resolution as a judge. But I do relish the experiences that I've had because they've given me the confidence to build my skills as an attorney and as a judge. I loved being a trial judge because I know that we have more in common than the differences that we all have. And it gave me a chance to build bridges, show others how to do that, to ease conflict, and that experience has been extraordinary. I am now honored to have the opportunity to serve the citizens of the state of Maryland on our highest court and to add my voice to our jurisprudence, which has been shaped by many wonderful and brilliant jurists. It is a privilege that I will not take for granted, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
President Ferguson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Judge Eves, it's wonderful to see you again. I just wanted to pass along my strong endorsement for the judge's nomination. We had a fantastic conversation about a range of different issues, but her work in particular as the administrative chief for the circuit court, I think, has distinguished her in a remarkable way in the operation side and dealing with COVID and all of the challenging decisions that were made throughout that process. I think will serve you quite well on the bench. And as we spoke before, just my continual plug of the importance of the judiciary and how it is viewed, and the importance of the deference to each branch, and how critical plain letter reading of the law and the importance of that separation of the branches is institutional for our democracy. And so deeply, deeply appreciate your history that you will bring to the bench, and I'm looking forward to supporting your candidacy.
Thank you, President Ferguson.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? If not, it's very easy on you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
So next up is Judge Matthew John Fader and Senator Lamb.
All right. Good evening, members of the committee. It's my pleasure to be able to introduce Judge Fader as an appointee to the Court of Appeals of Maryland. He comes from a broad and varied background, having graduated from law school at Yale, and then having served as a clerk with Judge Brankema with the Eastern District of Virginia, then went on to serve as a trial attorney at the Department of Justice on their civil division before going to work for almost about 10 years at Pittsburgh for a firm up there representing clients in litigation in federal and state agencies before coming back to Maryland and really building many roots here, first with the Office of the Attorney General in their civil division, working there for almost or just about 7 years, working his way up to the chief of the Division of Civil Litigation, and then making his way over to the Court of Special Appeals here in Maryland, where he served for the last several years, including most recently currently as the chief judge in the Court of Special Appeals. I had the opportunity to meet him over the weekend to also learn about his perspectives in judicial philosophy, appreciate his answer on stare decisis and many other judicial matters. So it's my pleasure to be able to introduce Judge Fader for this wonderful position. Really pleased to have him as a constituent to be able to serve on this highest court of the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Fader?
Thank you, Senator Lamb, Chair Young, Vice Chair Beidel, President Ferguson, and members of the committee. It's a great honor to be here before you. I want to begin by expressing my appreciation to Governor Hogan for nominating me to a seat on the Court of Appeals, and to all of you for your diligent attention to this important process. I also want to thank those of you who are willing to and able to meet with me or speak with me over the course of the past week. I very much appreciate the engaging and thoughtful discussions. I've had the honor to serve the people of the great state of Maryland for about 12 years now, beginning in 2010 with the Office of the Attorney General, and since 2017 in the Court of Special Appeals as a judge and then as chief judge most recently. As you all know, as well as anyone, it is a tremendous honor and privilege to serve the people of the state of Maryland. With that privilege and honor, of course, comes responsibility. Judges are and must be impartial and unbiased arbiters of disputes, faithful interpreters of the law, and steadfast adherents to the rule of law. Our loyalty is owed to the law and to our oath, not to any individual, group, or ideology. Our focus is on finding the right answer in every case under the law, not on finding a path to a preferred result. And our mission is and must remain the fair, efficient, and effective administration of justice for all. In carrying out my responsibilities, I've striven to embody that loyalty, focus, and attention to mission, and I pledge to continue to do so. Justice Thurgood Marshall cautioned that we must never forget that the only real source of power that we as judges can tap is the respect of the people. We will command that respect only as long as we strive for neutrality. Justice Marshall's warning and advice and example are a good thing for every judge in the state to keep in mind every day, and I intend to do that. I appreciate your consideration, and I welcome your questions.
Okay, thank you. President Ferguson.
Apologies, I promise I will not speak up on all of them, Mr. Chairman, but for the Court of Appeals, it's such an important selection. And again, Judge Fader, similarly, just want to thank you for the time and our conversation, and am really so pleased with the nominees that the governor has made for the Court of Appeals. It is, without a doubt, the most important institution that we have to be that fair arbiter of justice, and just want to thank you for your candidacy. I think your private sector experience, your work in the OAG's office will be of well use moving forward. I just wish you were maybe overseeing the baseball lockout and potentially could find a resolution there,
So do I.
Fair enough. So thank you for putting your name in the hat to serve, and look forward to supporting your candidacy.
Thank you.
Just to follow up, I had the pleasure of interviewing both, and I don't think we could find two more qualified candidates, and be pleased to be supporting both. And,
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we will move on to the District Court of Baltimore City. And the first up is Lydie Asama Glenn and Senator Carter.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Mr. Chair, and members of the Executive Nominations Committee. It's my honor and pleasure to introduce Lydie Asama Glenn, newest judge, District Court Judge for the District Court of Baltimore City. Ms. Glenn has a stellar background. I'm proud that she's a constituent of District 41. Lydie Asama Glenn received her Juris Doctorate from the University of Virginia School of Law and her Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, from the University of Pennsylvania. Lydie is currently Chief Solicitor in the Litigation and Appeals Division of the Baltimore City Solicitor's Office. Prior to this, she was Assistant Attorney General in the Contract Litigation Unit of the Maryland Office of the Attorney General, where she represented state agencies and served on the Attorney General's COVID-19 Access to Justice Task Force. Additionally, she taught as an adjunct professor at the University of Baltimore School of Law. Lydie is a volunteer attorney with the Maryland Volunteer Lawyer Service and sits on the board of the Downtown Baltimore Child Care, a nonprofit that provides early education to children. Besides English, Lydie speaks French, Spanish, and German. And without further ado, I'll introduce you to Honorable Lydie Asama Glenn.
Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction, Senator Carter. I really appreciate it. Good evening, members of the Executive Nominations Committee. Good evening, President Ferguson, Chair Young, and Vice President Brittle. Vice Chair, sorry. I want to thank Governor Hogan publicly for entrusting me with this responsibility and giving me the opportunity to put a lifetime of desire to help people to actually make that happen. And I'm really thankful for him. And I'm so thankful that you all have chosen to consider my nomination. and I will welcome any questions you may have.
Are there any questions or comments? Senator
I'll just
Kelly?
make a comment for you and the others who are going to be child judges that haven't spent 25 years on the Maryland Commission for Criminal Sentencing, as I have. You'll find that a very interesting process, and hopefully you will embrace it. It probably needs some work, and I think the people currently serving on it would like to have your feedback and that from others in the jurisdiction that you will be serving. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank
If
you.
not, thank you very much for coming. And we will move on to Ana de la Hoz Hernandez and Senator Washington.
Great. Good evening, colleagues. It's a great evening to be here to see these appointments and our partners in our democracy and holding up, making sure that the laws that we pass are adhered to fairly. Ana de la Hoz Hernandez is a constituent. She's lived in the district and rented in the Oakenshaw neighborhood, and then has recently purchased a home in the Radnor-Winston neighborhood. So I'm really here to strongly endorse her nomination as judge to the district court, a historic nomination. Her passion has been felt from a young age to advocate for the less fortunate, and that has stayed with her throughout her career. She worked in the Baltimore City Public Defender's Office, most recently as an assistant public defender in the felony trial unit. And she is not only a native speaker among Baltimore City's public defenders, she is active in our Latino and LGBTQ bar associations. Before becoming a lawyer, she worked as a special education teacher and was a Miami teaching fellow and the department head of special education. I think it's interesting to have both that experience, prior experience before coming to the law. She worked as a legal secretary for the Legal Services of Greater Miami, and that's a nonprofit providing civil legal representation to indigent clients. She went on to the University of Miami School of Law, and upon graduating, she completed the Washington, D.C. Public Defender Service, where she helped youth that were detained, and she helped support their educational needs. In 2013, she took this impeccable advocacy skills to the Office of the Public Defender. She's also earned a number of honors, just two of which are the Hope's Exemplar Service to the Poor Award and the Cali Excellence for Future Award for her outstanding work in health and elder legal clinic work as a student attorney. Again, she works closely with non-English speakers facing criminal matters. She is a strong candidate, and I am so honored to endorse and support the governor's nomination for her to join the district court.
Thank you, Senator Washington. Good evening, members of the committee, and thank you for your time. I would like to thank Governor Hogan for appointing me, and my greatest supporter, my spouse, who is here with me today. When I came to the U.S. at the age of 8 from Venezuela by myself on a plane with a passport around my neck, I never imagined that I would be sitting before you today for such a proud occasion. I am beyond grateful to this country, and I look forward to serving my adopted state of Maryland and its citizens. I hope I have your confirmation, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? It appears not, so thank you very much. Next up then is Tamika Marquise Lund Exenor and Senator McCray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, member of the Executive Noms for the record, Corey McCray, Senator for the 45th Legislative District. I have the proud privilege, honor to be here standing in front of you to present Ms. Tamika Lund. And when I think about Tamika Lund, I think about a person, especially when as a father of 2 daughters, of what exemplifies the best in Baltimore City. I think about how she was raised in Baltimore City. I think about her education that she received in Baltimore City. I think about as she's traveled her journey in reference to higher education, she still did that in Baltimore City. She went and got her legal degree at the George Washington University Law School. And one of the things that I think about is how hard, how strong she's still committed to our young folks in Baltimore City. She does Northwood football, so for folks, I see Senator Edwards in here. While they're not a high school team, they are a serious team when them young folks are ready to get to high school football. I think about the girls' leadership piece of it, and as stated, how I got a Kennedy and Reagan, and how we know that we need strong women to make sure that our young women are exemplifying that behavior. I know that as a CJ and Bryson, I got a 6 and 7, so when I saw she was active in Team Thrill, this is like a big deal for basketball folks, especially in the young league, so she's a part of Team Thrill. But she does that as she's married to her husband, and she's also raising 3 children, so she also knows what those pieces look like and what that looks like for our young people in Baltimore City. Currently, she's an administrative law judge for the last decade, for more than a decade, I should say, with the state of Maryland. And currently, she's going to ascend to the position of the District Court of Maryland. And I'm hoping that we can do that, not with just my support, but the support of the entire committee, because like I said, once again, she exemplifies what we see as leaders in the city of Baltimore. So I say thank you, and I present Ms. Tamika Lund.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senator McCray. Thank you, Chair Young and Vice Chair Beidel, and for this committee today and your consideration of me. I always say I want to also publicly thank Governor Hogan for his nomination. When I was sitting in the hallways waiting to be called for my interview to Governor Hogan, I remember just looking around at all the pictures and how beautiful the space was and thinking, this is my grandparents. My grandparents couldn't have imagined this in their wildest dreams, that I would be interviewing with the governor and then sitting here with you all today. And so I'm very appreciative of your time. I am currently an administrative law judge. I've been conducting hearings for 12 years. I understand fair and impartial and following the rule of law. I'm a Baltimore City girl, born and raised. I'm supported today by my parents, David and Tammy Lund. I've grown up in the city. I understand the issues of my city. And I feel so blessed to be able to serve the city as I've served the state of Maryland for the last 12 years, with your confirmation, of course. And I'll take any questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Apparently not, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will move to Teresa Catherine Morse and President Ferguson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Madam Chair, members of the Executive Nominations Committee. It is my honor to be here to introduce and strongly endorse Teresa Morse, who I have known personally. We graduated from law school together. She was a star then, and she is a star now. She went to work immediately following University of Maryland School of Law. Graduating, she went to the State's Attorney's Office in Baltimore City. She left in 2015 to work for the Anne Arundel County State's Attorney's Office. More recently, in 2019, moved to the Office of Attorney General, where she works on the organized crime unit within the Attorney General's office. And so she's done a number of complex cases related to wiretaps and sort of the more integral and detailed investigation work that exists. So she understands the entire criminal spectrum. She will be a phenomenal member of the bench. And I look forward to being able to say, I knew her when she was in law school, now on the bench. So strongly endorse her candidacy, and thank you for your consideration of her nomination.
Good evening. Thank you, President Ferguson, and thank you to the rest of the committee. Thank you so much for your time. I want to publicly thank Governor Hogan for my appointment. I'm so honored by this, especially alongside the other individuals that you've already heard from this evening. I also want to thank my family. My father's here with me tonight. I think the rest of my family is actually watching online right now, including my 3-year-old niece, so this is probably her first time watching any type of government hearing. I've spent my career since graduating from law school working in public service, and I can't think of a better way to serve the public than to be at district court, where so many people, that is where they interact with the court system, with the judiciary, and that may be the only interaction that they have with it. I look forward to being able to serve the citizens of Baltimore, and I would welcome any questions.
Okay, thank you. And are there any questions? Looks like you're getting off easy also.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I try to honor requests of people that have problems, and we had a whole bunch tonight, but fortunately, I think most of them resolved themselves. But Senator Washington still did have one, and so I'm going to take her two out of order. The first is the Economic Development Commission of Maryland, and it's the Jeanette Bloss Partlow and Senator Washington.
Great, thank you, and I appreciate the consideration. Very good. Greetings, colleagues. I'm honored to recommend Jeanette Partlow for the Maryland Economic Development Commission. This is her second appointment serving on this commission. She has a BS in Commerce from the University of Law and a law degree from the University of Baltimore School of Law. After academia, she went on to have an impressive career as a cost accountant and financial analyst, and she is currently president of the Maryland Chemical Company, a veteran-founded and certified woman-owned third-generation company. Prior to her first appointment to the commission, she served on the Governor's Emergency Management Advisory Committee, also on the Baltimore City Mayor's Advisory Council for Small, Local, and Minority Business. Now, although this is her second appointment, she continues to have an enthusiasm for the work. She works under commission, reporting on the impacts of the pandemic to our businesses and industry. She champions small businesses. She provides feedback and comments on economic development initiatives in our region of Baltimore City, but also throughout our state. So I strongly endorse Ms. Parlow's nomination to the Maryland Economic Development Commission.
Thank you, Senator Washington. And thank you to the leadership and the members of this Executive Nominating Committee. Like the folks who have come before me, I'm grateful to Governor Hogan for this nomination. I also am honored to continue to serve the citizens of the great state of Maryland. It's been really exciting to see the work of the Maryland Economic Development Commission and to see Maryland come up in the rankings of a state where it's desirable and a great state to do business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And are there any questions, Ms. Partlow? Apparently not, so thank you.
Thank you.
And we are going to jump forward to candidate number 24 for the Board of Trustees of the Maryland Retirement and Pension System, Senator Washington.
And again, I want to thank
Matthew
the chair.
Weiskell.
Thank the chair so much for this consideration. Colleagues, I'm honored to recommend the nomination of my constituent, Matthew Weitzel, to the Board of Trustees of the Maryland State Retirement and Pension Systems. He's got his BA in Mathematics and Economics from Williams College. He received his MBA in Finance and Accounting from NYU School of Business. He worked on Wall Street for 5 years, I'm glad you survived, and then moved back to Baltimore City to work for the Mercantile Business and Wealth Management Division. In the mid-2000s, he left Mercantile Bank and started his own management firm, Skill Capital, and today, alongside running his own firm, he also has multiple skills helping nonprofit organizations. He's a member of the Board of Investment or a committee member, so on a number of nonprofit organizations, he serves in that capacity. Now, due to his extensive experience, he was nominated and appointed to join the Board of Trustees for the Maryland Retirement Pension. His expertise will continue to be an asset, and I strongly, strongly support his nomination.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, I want to thank Governor Hogan, first of all, for nominating me for this position. And I want to thank the committee here tonight for your time and for listening to me. I'm very interested in serving on the Maryland State Retirement and Pension Systems Committee, or Board. And I think that I can do a good job for the citizens of the people that, the pensioners that are affected by the system. As my resume indicates, and as Senator Washington mentioned, I have over 30 years' experience in the investment business. some of it up in New York City, and then the rest of it down here in Baltimore. Longtime Baltimore City resident. And I feel that my experience and knowledge of the financial markets will be helpful to the Board of Trustees with their decision-making. So with that, I welcome any questions you may have.
President Ferguson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to very briefly second the nomination. Mr. Weiskell is a phenomenal individual. He put together the Next Generation Conference, which took leading financial folks from across the country, brought them here to raise money for scholarships. And so understands that balance of how to use capitalism to move the world forward, and just greatly appreciate his nomination and look forward to supporting him. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Griffith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. I enjoyed your comments and your information you submitted. I saw that you traveled across the country in 1996. What was the most interesting thing you saw during your journey?
Well, I hadn't seen the Pacific Ocean till then. That was kind of neat. But, yeah, I visited a lot of family and friends along the way. And, I don't know, the Badlands was remarkably pretty, I guess. It's really colorful, much more colorful than I would imagine. So that was between jobs, of course, but thank you.
All right, very cool. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
You thought Montana was great.
Almost. Thank you all.
Everything else resolved itself, but if someone still has a problem, let me know, and I'll try to handle it. Otherwise, we'll move on to number 7, the Board of Trustees for Maryland Affordable Housing, Eric C. Brown and Senator Carter.
Good evening again, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. It's my honor to introduce Eric Brown. Eric Brown has over 25 years of experience serving as director of many housing and property boards. Currently, Eric is Director of Housing Services for the City of Westminster, where he is responsible for the administration of the city's Housing Choice Voucher Program. Previously, he was Director of Prince George's County Department of Housing and Community Development. In this role, he oversaw the county's housing, community, and redevelopment agencies, including the Housing Community Development, which administers the county's entitlement programs. He is a member of the Maryland Affordable Housing Coalition, the Housing Authority Insurance Group, and the National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials. Eric Brown earned his bachelor's degree in Public Administration and Master's of Urban and Regional Planning from University of Mississippi, and his Juris Doctorate from Miles Law School in Alabama. I strongly support his nomination, and with that, I'll give you Eric Brown. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Senator Carter, for that warm introduction. And I want to say good evening to the members of the Executive Nomination Committee. I would be remiss if I did not publicly thank Governor Hogan for nominating me to the Maryland Affordable Housing Trust. I have dedicated my life to public service, and being a trustee of the Maryland Affordable Housing Trust would enable me to continue what I enjoy doing, and that's being of service to the public. I understand that you have copies of my resume, and would be happy to answer any questions that any of you may have.
Are there any questions? Apparently not, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the Board of Airport Zoning Appeals, and Michelle Marzullo and Senator West.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. It's my pleasure to introduce Michelle Marzullo, whom the governor has appointed to the Board of Airport Zoning Appeals. Ms. Marzullo graduated magna cum laude from the College of Notre Dame of Maryland, and then she graduated with a law degree from the University of Baltimore Law School. She's maintained her own law practice in Towson for the past 15 years. She represents lots of small and medium-sized companies as outside general counsel, and also is the inside counsel for a company named Jovian Concepts, Inc., which is located in Hanover, Maryland. Most importantly to me, when growing up, she lived next door to one of my best friends. So I give you Ms. Marzullo.
Thank you, Senator West, and thank you, committee, for taking the time this evening to consider my nomination for the Board of Airport Zoning Appeals. I really want to thank Governor Hogan for the honor of this nomination. I have spent over 20 years as an attorney in Maryland. I have, in that time, handled litigation, contracts, corporate law, and real estate, and I think I can bring all of that to bear to my service on the Board of Airport Zoning Appeals. You all have a copy of my resume, and I am happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Are there any questions? If not, thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay, number 9, James Osborne Jr. Has 101 temperature and couldn't make it tonight, so we will reschedule him next week. Let's go to the Board of Trustees of the Maryland Automobile Insurance, and Senator Riley Keith Wolf.
I told you to take that badge off because it keeps falling off.
There
Yes,
you
sir.
are.
Much better. Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair, Keith Wolf is a local Prince George's County fellow. Grew up in College Park, went to Eleanor Roosevelt, and then made that long trip to college at the University of Maryland. Keith is also 10 years later got his MBA from Northwestern University, and for the past 16 years has been an executive with Zurich Reinsurance. It's a very high level of support that we give our insurance companies around the United States and around the world to provide extra protection in case of catastrophic claims. For this past 16 years, Keith has climbed the ranks, currently president of Swiss Reinsurance, lives in Arnold, Maryland. I find him a very qualified individual for the Maryland Insurance Fund, and we request your approval of his nomination. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Riley. I appreciate the introduction, and I wanted to thank the Governor Hogan, for the nomination here to be on the Board of Trustees for the Maryland Auto Insurance Fund. As Senator Riley mentioned, I am a native of the area and have been looking to serve the great state of Maryland and the citizens therein for a while. This is an opportunity I think that is a wonderful match, and I thank the committee for their time this evening to consider my application.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just one more. I'd also, Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to recognize our Insurance Commissioner, Al Redmer, is in the audience in support of this nomination. Thank you very much.
Okay, are there any questions? Apparently not, so thank you.
Thank you.
On to Critical Area Commission for the Chesapeake and Atlantic Coastal Bays, and Dawn Jacobs and Senator Hershey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Steve Hershey, and I'm very pleased to introduce Dawn Jacobs for appointment to the Critical Area Commission. Mayor Jacobs, as she's known to the residents in Rock Hall, has been a great friend of mine for many years and very supportive of my time here in public service, and I couldn't thank her anymore for that. Also the wife of Delegate Jay Jacobs, and he was a former member of the Critical Areas Commission as well, too. So I think she's extremely well talented. She's helped us in so many different things throughout our community, and I think she'd be a perfect fit on the Critical Areas Commission. I fully support her nomination for Critical Areas Commission.
Thank you, Senator. I want to thank also Governor Hogan for the nomination. I was very flattered and very interested in filling this role, being that Rock Hall is situated right on the bay and has a good percentage of area in the critical area zone. We just, as it turned out, have corrected our critical area map, working very closely with the Critical Area Commission. And given that we have 1,300 residents and 1,700 boat slips, we have a lot of challenges throughout the year when it comes to critical areas. So I look forward to this nomination. And unlike my husband, I'm done talking.
Well, Oh, that is a...
unless you have questions.
Are there any questions? Enjoyed my time on the Critical Areas Commission, so I'm sure you will also.
Thank you very much.
Next up is the Maryland Community Health Resources Commission. Treshawn Thornton, Dr. Treshawn Thornton Davis. Senator Gazzoni couldn't be here tonight, but he said you have his full and strong endorsement.
Good evening, Senators. I would like to thank you for your time this evening, and I would also like to thank Governor Hogan for his nomination to the Maryland Community Health Resources Commission. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to serve on this commission, which was created to expand access to healthcare services in underserved communities in Maryland. This is the work I do every day as a physician, administrator, and diversity ambassador. So I'm very excited to have this opportunity to impact the health of Marylanders. I serve women from many diverse communities with many high-risk conditions and socioeconomic comorbidities that affect their overall health, so this work is very relevant and timely for me. I have additional experience as an administrator ensuring patients receive timely access to care as well as quality care, and I also serve as a diversity ambassador. And this role has actually allowed me to facilitate conversations and share data about healthcare disparities, as well as the opportunity to work with community campaigns like the GoVax campaign, increasing awareness about COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccination. So I would like to thank you again and publicly thank Governor Hogan for the nomination.
Thank you. Any questions? Apparently not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senators.
And we'll move to Roberta Locher and Senator Bailey.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, distinguished members of the committee. Senator Bailey, District 29, for the record. Tonight it is my honor to introduce you to Robbie Locher. Ms. Locher is a very qualified and deserving of this nomination. Some of Mrs. Locher's past experience: she's been the board chair for the Health Share of St. Mary's County. She's a past member of MedStar Health Incorporated Board of Directors, past chair of United Way of St. Mary's County, past chair of St. Mary's Hospital, now MedStar St. Mary's, past vice chair of St. Mary's County Chamber of Commerce. As you see, Ms. Locher is very qualified. She's not only that, she's a friend of mine, been friends with her family for years. I support her nomination as a member of the Maryland Community Health Resource Commission.
Thank you, Senator Bailey, and I thank all of you, and I'm grateful to Governor Hogan, like all the other nominees here tonight, for nominating me to the Maryland Community Health Resources Commission. I also want to thank Chairman Young, Vice Chairman Beidel, and President Ferguson, and the members of the Executive Nominations Committee for their time tonight in confirming my nomination. You heard Senator Bailey touch on my background. I know you all have printed copies there. I'm tireless in trying to serve my community in different ways, and spent 30 years as a state employee, so I have public service blood running through me. I can't stop doing it. So anyway, I welcome the opportunity to use my extensive experience in hospital governance and then in a leadership role with different departments of social services, working with community partners to weave that safety net that's so important for all Marylanders. And so I welcome the opportunity to use this experience and happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Are there any questions? Looks like not, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And we'll move to the State Community Health Worker Advisory Committee, Jennifer Martinez and Senator Wallstreicher. Neither one here? Yeah. Okay, I guess we'll look at possibly holding it for next week. So we will skip down to the Maryland Health Care Commission, Kerry Wood and Senator Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and members of the Executive Nominations Committee. It's a pleasure to introduce to you Ms. Kerry Wood, who's been nominated by the Governor to serve as a member on the Maryland Health Care Commission. Ms. Wood is a resident of Hughesville, which is in District 27. She's currently an Executive Vice President at the Community Bank of the Chesapeake, which sits in Waldorf, Maryland. She is a true Southern Maryland person. She's attended her education in Southern Maryland. She's a true civic leader in Southern Maryland. She served and is continuing to serve in Calvert County on numerous boards and commissions throughout the region, including the Board of Trustees for the Calverton School, Charlotte Hall Rotisserie, must be dinner time or something, Rotary Foundation, the Community Foundation of Southern Maryland, and the United Way of Calvert County, and the Calvert Health Foundation. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Ms. Kerry Wood, and I support her nomination for this position.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. I'd like to thank Governor Hogan for the nomination to the Maryland Health Commission, and I thank all of you for the time to consider me for this nomination. While I don't have a healthcare background, I have been serving my community for over 30 years and very engaged in when I talk to people about their financial health, I also listen to what also is troubling them in their lives. And I've been able to learn a lot about our residents of the Southern Maryland area, as well as I've been serving on a lot of community boards and interact with a lot of our leaders throughout the community. I think I'm going to be able to add, some knowledge to the Southern Maryland area. And as a community leader and as a Rotarian, I truly believe in the motto, service above self, and I give of my time every day. So this is going to be an extension of my service over the years and looking at not only the Southern Maryland area, but also the state of Maryland to be on the commission. So I'm looking forward to this opportunity. I welcome any questions that you may have for me, and
Okay.
I appreciate the time.
Are there any questions? Apparently not, so thank you very much.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
And I see that Senator Stryker just came in with Jennifer Martinez for the State Community Health Worker Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's my honor to introduce Ms. Jennifer Martinez, from my legislative district and a senior community health worker with CCI Health and Wellness. Ms. Martinez has spent her entire career in public health and is a role model and leader among the peer community health workers. She oversees 10 of those community health workers. I certainly recommend her to the board. She has the qualifications necessary to do the job. We know how important this board is in our current public health situation, and I think Ms. Martinez would be exemplary in that role. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. I just want to thank Governor Hogan for the nomination, for the opportunity. I also want to thank the committee for taking the time for my nomination. I live and breathe community health. I know I'm very young. I don't have a lot of years of experience, but as a kid growing up, a first-generation Hispanic college student, for me, it's been really important to try to support the community, the ones that are the most deserved, who need that connection to help them to help promote their health. So I know I'm a little nervous, but I'm very excited. So I thank you all for the time. And if you have any questions, please ask away.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Senator Ecker?
I just wanted to say thank you so much for your commitment. You certainly are a role model for so many, and I appreciate your working with our vulnerable populations. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, it's great to have young people involved. We were all young at one time.
I only said that because everyone's saying 30 years experience. I'm like, 10 years. Thank you.
Next up is the Maryland Industrial Development Financing Authority, Ann Hooper and Senator Alford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I am here to proudly endorse the nomination of Ms. Ann Hooper for the commission. While her resume speaks a lot to Charles County, so I'm wondering actually when the senator from Charles County will see this, but she's actually a resident of Eastport, near Davis's, she tells me. And if you look at her long list of volunteer opportunities, I'm not sure when she sleeps, but the most important thing I'd like to point out is her time as chair of the Charles County Economic Development Advisory Board, and in that time, she helped develop the COVID protocols for Charles County, and it's my understanding that it was that work that led the Department of Commerce to reach out to her proactively and ask her to serve on this important commission. So with that knowledge, I fully endorse her for this role. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
First, I would like to publicly thank the governor for the nomination to the Maryland Industrial Development Financing Authority. I would also like to thank Senator Alfred for the introduction and this committee for their time and dedication to the process of confirmation. I have been fully dedicated to economic growth in Charles County by serving as their chairwoman of the Economic Development Advisory Board since 2020, and look forward to this appointment affording me the opportunity to expand this service to the state of Maryland. In the words of our governor, Maryland is open for business, and I'm honored to be one of Maryland's biggest promoters. Thank you for your time, and I open the floor for questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Looks like not, so thank you very much.
Thank you again, and have a good night.
You too. Next, we have 3 more appointments to the LGBTQ Affairs Commission, and the first is Joan Bryan and Senator Hedelman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm Shelley Hedelman from District 11 in Baltimore County, and I'm very pleased today to introduce the Exec Noms Committee to Ms. Joan Bryan. Ms. Bryan was a 40-year worker at Social Security Administration, worked in computers and programming and in operation. She's been retired. She also has lived 50-plus years in the Gwynvale neighborhood in Pikesville. And when we were chatting, I asked her why she was interested in this, and she said she sought the nomination. She's been a longtime community activist, very involved in her neighborhood and also in Liberty Road Community Coordinating Council. She has also served on the Baltimore County Human Relations Commission and a variety of other important community groups. When she applied for this job, she wrote why, and you'll see on her resume, and I think that sort of sums up her reason, is to protect, support, inform, and advocate for the LGBTQIA+ community, particularly its younger, most vulnerable members and those of color. So I think there's no better reason, and wholeheartedly support Ms. Bryan's nomination to this commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Senator Kelly.
Although Ms. Bryan is next door in District 11 and not in District 10, which I represent, she is a busy beaver, and she's doing all kind of civic work, and she goes back and forth across the lines on a daily and a weekly basis, making sure that the elderly are served, that people know what meetings are coming up, what's happening with county council, and so on. So she's going to do a good job. I absolutely can vouch for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bryan.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Hedelman. And thank you, Senator Kelly, for those kind words. I didn't prepare any remarks. I want to thank the governor for my nomination, and I thank you for hearing me today. My reason for wanting to serve on this commission is to support and comfort, for lack of a better word, LGBTQIA kids who don't have the support that they need, who may be in environments that are, in fact, dangerous for them. My goal is to help those kids, well, to find those kids, and to help them however we can. I do this on behalf of my trans grandson, and on behalf of a nephew whom I lost many years ago, needlessly, to AIDS.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Are there any questions or comments? If not, thank you for offering to serve, and
Thank you all.
you're good. Next, we have Dr. Kurt Doan and Senator Casserly.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chairman, and President, colleagues, it's my honor to introduce and support the nomination of Mr. Kurt Doan to the Commission on LGBTQ Affairs. Mr. Doan was born actually just across the border in Lancaster. He's been working at Harford Community College in my county since 2000 and, well, for the past 8 years. I won't do my math. For the past 8 years. In various executive positions where he's been widely praised for his success, his professionalism. Kurt's been serving for the past 2 years as a member of the board member of the Upper Chesapeake Pride, and so my privilege to support Kurt's nomination. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Casserly, for that kind introduction, and thank you to the committee for your time this evening. As Senator Casserly said, my name is Kurt Doan, and I've been a resident of Harford County for the past 8 years. I'm honored to have been nominated by Governor Hogan for the Commission on LGBTQ Affairs. I've spent the past 27 years of my career working in the field of higher education, and all of my positions have included equity work specifically designed to make higher education safer and more inclusive for LGBTQIA people. Last March, I was proud to join the board of Upper Chesapeake Bay Pride, and that's an organization that provides unwavering advocacy and support for LGBTQ people in Harford and Cecil counties. Nationwide, 5% of the rural population identifies as queer. So this means that there are thousands of LGBTQ people living in Maryland's rural communities. Sexual minority people living in rural areas are more likely to be discriminated against and simultaneously less likely to have support structures in place that they can turn to for help. I'm proud to call Maryland my home for the past 8 years, and I've been very happy to see, during this session in particular, some of the outdated laws that discriminate against LGBTQ people, seeing recommendations for amendments to those. But there are still laws missing that would help to prevent discrimination against queer people. I submitted my application for this commission in the hopes of making Maryland a better place for LGBTQ people and specifically advocating for the needs of LGBTQ people in rural communities. I'm hopeful that the work I've done throughout my career and in my community can help make Maryland even better than it already is. So at this time, I'd be happy to take any questions you might have.
Are there any questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the last one on that committee is Margot Quinlan and Senator West.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. It's my pleasure to introduce Margot Quinlan. She was appointed by the governor to the Commission on LGBTQ Affairs. She attended Stevenson University and then graduated from the University of Maryland School of Social Work with a Master of Social Work. Currently, she's the Director of Youth and Older Adult Policy at the Mental Health Association of Maryland. And she's also the Policy Director of Trans Maryland. Always trying to find something interesting to say about and different to say about my nominees. So in this case, a couple of years ago, she was a community organizer for the United Workers Association, and during that period, she connected members for a meeting with President Obama at a local Baltimore coffee shop. Ms. Quinlan.
Thank you. Yeah, I did meet the president. Thank you, Senator, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, President Ferguson, and thank you to Governor Hogan for the nomination. My name is Margot Quinlan. And as was said, I spent all of my working and free time doing organizing and advocacy for the community. I've been doing LGBTQ advocacy for over a decade. I'm a lifelong Maryland resident. My husband and I have 2 small kids, and really excited about this commission. I know it's a new commission, and I think it's extremely timely as states across the country are aggressively moving to criminalize trans youth, to criminalize trans families, to criminalize trans healthcare. I think Maryland has a chance to really lead, and would be honored to serve on this commission and help Maryland to be a leader in LGBTQ equality. So happy to answer any questions.
Okay, are there any questions? Yes, Senator Griffith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to thank you for your advocacy on behalf of mental health issues. I know that's a big priority and have heard from you a lot on those issues, so thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Senator. Great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And also, similar to what Senator Griffith said, Ms. Quinlan's been a regular in the Finance Committee this session on multiple bills in that space, and so I just want to add double up on what Senator Griffith mentioned as well. You've done a great job in the Finance Committee, so thank you for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Senator Zucker, why don't you come up, and I'll let Hershey and West finish the night then. And we have the Real Estate Commission and Nee Malou.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair. For the record, Senator Craig Zucker. It's my great pleasure to put forth the name of Nia Malou, who I support. Mr. Chairman, I'd also recognize that Nia's whole family is here, so I appreciate them being here. Great constituents from Montgomery County, but Nia brings nearly 25 years of experience in education as well. She's a principal architect. She currently teaches at Howard University, but she's also taught at the University of District Columbia and Montgomery College, and this is the type of person that we want on this commission. So without further ado, it's my great pleasure to welcome Nia Malou.
Thank you for your support, Senator Zucker. I would like to thank the commission and the committee for your time, and I would also like to thank our Governor Hogan. I've been writing to him for a couple of years, and here I am. I wanted my daughter and my children to see how this works. So I got them, my whole family supporting me to serve the proud citizens of Maryland. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, appears not. So thank you for being here and bringing your family. Okay, we will jump back to what's got to be the longest title in the state. Board of Directors of the Maryland Agriculture and Resource-Based Industry Development Corporation. Wayne Richard and Senator Hershey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Steve Hershey. I'm very pleased to introduce Wayne Richard for actually reappointment to the Marbitco Board of Directors. Mr. Richard has been with Mid-Atlantic Farm Bureau for the last 18 years, was educated at the University of Maryland where he studied agribusiness, and he's been a tremendous resource for so many of us that have been working on businesses that are agriculture related. And I know he'll continue to do a wonderful job, and I fully support his nomination to the Marbitco Board of Directors.
Thank you, Senator Hershey. I'd also like to thank Governor Hogan for the appointment and the committee for taking the time to make the nominations confirmed. I was born and raised on a small farm in Caroline County, went to school at University of Maryland School of Ag, as the senator said, and been working with Farm Credit ever since. So you could say Maryland agriculture is deep in my veins. So it's with great pleasure that I've been on the Marbitco board and look forward to continue serving upon that board. You know, working with Farm Credit, I've got the benefit of seeing the lending side and how Marbitco plays into that. Marbitco plays a vital role in helping youth get into agriculture in the state of Maryland, and I'm very proud to be a part of that. So, any questions?
Are there any questions? If not, thank you. And Senator Hershey, you're standing there. You may as well finish up. Right. Where are we? The Board of Directors of the University of Maryland Medical System, Gary Magnum.
Again, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, Senator Steve Hershey, to introduce Gary Mangum to the appointment for the Board of Directors. Mr. Mangum is certainly no stranger to this committee or any of us that have been in the legislature for a number of years. We've seen him on some tireless advocacy for many, many different issues. His resume will show a lot of extensive experience in leadership, positions with many companies, but he likes to describe himself now as mostly retired, I think. So fortunately for us, that gives him more time to be on some of these boards, and certainly has been very dedicated to the state of Maryland. And I could not have a great friend of mine who's just, his best words, they're just, he's very kind and humble, and it's very much of honor for me to be here to fully support his nomination to the Board of Directors. Thanks.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much, Chairman Young, Vice Chair Beidel, and committee members for the time. I drove my wife crazy today because I wrote 5 pages of remarks. Big print. I'm not going to read any of it, I promise. I was sitting back there scratching things out and adding things, and I just have to say first, I really would like to thank Governor Hogan for this opportunity. It really means a lot to me. And my background is in agriculture, about as far away from something like the university system as you could possibly get. But I have such a respect for what that organization does. I am not prepared through knowledge to serve on that board, nor was I to serve on the Stadium Authority. And, you know, I've learned how that organization operates, and I look forward to the opportunity to learn how operates and participate and contribute over time. I was thinking about really what my qualifications were to serve on this board, and I think really just through my business experiences over time and the importance of working with people and teaching people in our own businesses to act like they own it. And by that, I mean not making rash decisions or judgments, but think things through as if you own that particular business, or if you're cleaning the warehouse, you know, that's your warehouse, you own it. And by doing that, you're going to grow over time and benefit both yourself, your family, and the business. And I hope I can act like I own it to a small degree in a small way in this particular opportunity. Any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer.
Are there any questions? Yes, Senator Reedy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to second the nomination, and I'm glad that this is an outstanding appointment. One of the things that I've known Mr. Mangum for a few years, and I think integrity is a word that comes to mind, and that's something we're obviously looking for on this board. And I know that I know you bring that to the board, and we appreciate all the service you've given to the state, and look forward to working with you in the new capacity. So,
thank you, Senator.
Okay, next, Senator Smith.
Yes, just lending my voice to the chorus. I'll third the nomination, give some bipartisan flavor. It's worked on with Mr. Mangum on a number of issues, just first class all the way. So this is great to have him in our service.
Thank you, Senator Lamb.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. And just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to meet earlier. Really appreciated that, and the chance to be able to hear some of my thoughts about the board. It's a very important board, a lot of challenges in the past, but hope that you'll continue to take some of the thoughts to heart. So thank you.
Thanks. I appreciated the opportunity.
Okay, Senator Eckert.
Thank you very much, and I too would like to say congratulations, and I would applaud your nomination. And I really believe that you have something unique to bring to the board just because of the School of Agriculture. And I know Dean Beyruti and his team over there has been working to really have a more global impact with regard to ag, and I think you bring that perspective to the board that it's going to be very useful going forward. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam.
Anyone else? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And our last appointment of the night is the Maryland Port Commission, and Brenda Dandy and Senator West, Senator Zucker, and I, as well as you, realize what it's like to always be last.
Yes.
It wasn't intentional.
That story of my life.
Oh, I have 2 more over. I have those pages covered.
So we're not last.
I'm sorry, you're not last, but you're close.
Close, right.
Yes.
Mr. Chair and colleagues, it is my pleasure to introduce Brenda Dandy, whom the governor has appointed to the Maryland Port Commission. Those of you who are old like me may recall What's My Line, which was on CBS on Sunday nights. and the panel had to guess the profession of the contestant. Ms. Dandy would have made a great contestant on What's My Line, because she is the co-founder of Marine Enterprises International, based in Essex, which manufactures the leading artificial seawater mix used in public aquariums, aquaculture facilities, live seafood holding systems, and research laboratories worldwide. Of course, she ships her product out of the Port of Baltimore. So with no more ado, I give you Ms. Dandy.
Well, good evening. Thank you. We're almost last but not least, I guess. I had 3 pages, but I didn't bring them. No, kidding. Anyway, I want to thank the committee, and also I thank Governor Hogan for this nomination. And I really have enjoyed being on the Port Commission these many years. It's one of the most favorite things I've ever done, and I am very happy to be here again, and I thank you for everything.
President Ferguson?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Danny, thank you for your prior service and moving forward, and just want to reiterate, especially in these next few years, as some of the wind contracts start to come moving forward and the new 50-foot berth is opening up, just the importance of that balance between labor and management and maintaining that strong relationship is just so critical for the commission. As I know you know, but can't say enough. It's
Right.
what makes us competitive.
But it has been a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the next is the Maryland Board of Regents for the University System, Farah Halal and Senator Hester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the esteemed committee. For the record, Senator Katie Fry-Hester, proud to represent District 9. I'm honored to be here today to introduce Farah Halal, nominated to the University System of Maryland Board of Regents. Ms. Halal is currently a sophomore at University of Maryland, Baltimore County, where she is pursuing a dual degree in global studies and political science with a minor in global economics, so nothing can stop her. In addition to being a full-time student, she serves on the USM Student Council, the UMBC Student Government Association, and the Student Advisory Board of the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Studies. She also tutors and mentors middle, high school, and college students, and has even presented her own TEDx talk, Grab a Seat, about the importance of accurate representation in schools. Ms. Halal is a Sondheim Scholar, a specialized cohort of 17 students pursuing careers in public service. Her commitment is evidenced by an already impressive resume of service to her community and her schools. I'd like to thank you all and introduce Ms. Halal.
Thank you, Senator. Good afternoon, Senators of the Executive Nominations Committee. I would like to thank the people who made my nomination possible throughout the process. So I would like to thank the NBC Student Regent Nomination Committee, who provided me with a great deal of encouragement and guidance, as well as President Hrabowski for accepting their nomination. I would also like to thank the USM Student Council for their diligent efforts throughout this nomination process, and Chancellor Perman, as well as Chief of Staff Fulkerson for their time during my interview with them. And of course, I would like to thank Governor Hogan and Secretary Cavey and their team for their time and efforts throughout this appointment process. So thank you.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Apparently not, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I had many of the notes and things I get covering the last page of the 2 nominees, so Senator Lee, you get to experience what Senator Washington Zucker and I have gotten in life being last.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we have Raymond Riscasso for the Washington Suburban Transit Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chairman. The best, we save the best for the last. I'm very pleased and very honored to introduce and support Mr. Raymond J. Cusco Jr., who has been appointed by our Governor, Larry Hogan, to the Washington Suburban Transit Commission, and we thank Governor Hogan for this appointment. He's had an impressive career in law and business, and despite his very busy schedule, he's been very active in the community with many nonprofit organizations, both in Washington area in Maryland. He currently is the Executive Vice President of Conferences and Events for Advanced Medical Technology Association, and also has served as the CEO and Managing Partner of Life Sciences Conference Group, Executive Director of the Biotechnology Organization, and of course, he also was active in private practice too, as of counsel at the Pilero, Tobin, and Mazza. He also has served as an Associate Director of the White House Office of National Service and the White House Staff Volunteer Initiative. He's also, in Maryland, served as a commissioner on the Maryland Economic Development Commission, and also on the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority as a member of that wonderful entity from 2007 to 2008. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, he served on so many different nonprofit organizations that it would take forever to tell you all of them. He received his JD from Georgetown Law Center, BS in Business Administration from Auburn University, and is a graduate of my high school, Winston Churchill High School, go Bulldogs. As his sterling track record attests, he will contribute much to the very important mission and work of the WSTC. I give you this wonderful candidate.
Thank you very much. Thank you. First off, I want to thank Chairman, President, all members of the Senate. I've got a great appreciation having sat here and been last. And I appreciate that even more because I have appeared before this committee numerous times. What I really appreciate is the respect and the time and attention you've given to every single person. Because for each of us, several times it's the first time we've ever had an appointment. And I thank you immensely. You've paid attention the entire time. You've been so respectful. And it makes me very proud to be here and to be a part of what we're going to do today. And I appreciate Governor Hogan's appointment. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I'm very delighted to see several friends I've known for many years that are here. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions or comments? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. While we're getting ready to vote, I think we have 25 next week, plus we've moved through. We will be moving 3. So we'll probably have 28 next week. I was thinking it might be longer. Hopefully we'll get out this amount of time. But next week should be our last meeting. And do you want to?
Are we ready for the motion?
Are we ready?
Okay. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we accept all the candidates that appeared tonight, but that we withhold on the statewide nominees, number 31 and 32, for a public hearing later.
And number 9, he didn't show.
Oh, and, well, okay. And
Number
then I
9.
said everyone that appeared, but, and number 9 who didn't appear tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Senator Lamb?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would also like to ask that nominees S22 and S24 appear before the committee at next week's hearing. I guess my concern with the state school for the blind is that there have been a lot of concerns in the past that have come up with racism and elitism in prior hearings that have taken place before the General Assembly. Sorry, School of the Deaf, yes. In prior hearings that have occurred before the General Assembly. And there are some nominees, when you look back at their current board, that have had terms that have expired in 2020 and 2021. I would like to know if these 2 members that are being appointed to the board are replacing these individuals, some of these individuals whose terms have expired or not. And maybe if that's something that the appointment office or committee staff can clarify, that would be helpful for next time. But I do have concerns about folks that continue to serve on the board when their term have expired. The law, I believe, allows them to do that, but given some of the concerns that we've had with the School for the Deaf, I do have some concerns about the issues that the parents and alumni of the school have brought up. So would request that these 2 appear before the committee next week.
Okay. I believe there are 9 appointments coming up for that, or there are 9 that need to come up, but 7 of them come up after the primary. so they'll serve the term out, and the next governor would appoint them. I think these two are replacing two whose terms have expired.
Okay. Could it be clarified which two they're replacing of the five that whose terms have expired?
Sure, I don't have that list with me, but I'll look.
Okay.
It's two that have expired.
All right, I can provide that list of the five, if someone
Yeah.
can clarify, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
Do I need to amend the motion?
Want to amend the motion? Mhm.
What are you gonna-
Or is it just the school for the blind? Because that's 4 people
Okay. Senator Lane, we have a question. We understood earlier that you want to hold 2 for the school for the deaf, and that was my motion, S 31 and 32. Is that not true?
No, you're right.
That's the 2 you want to hold? Okay,
And not the two for the blind.
okay. And I agree with you,
Okay.
and I thank you. So my motion was correct. Thank you.
Motion's correct then. I thought you were adding two also. Okay.
Okay, so I made a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Done.